Hey, capybaras, welcome back to another episode of The Lone Roller. It is I, the host, the player, the one who produces the show all by himself, Leon. Capybaras, where we last left off with Talti was that he got to meet, finally, what Prius contact, his Patreon, if you will, and learn some very disturbing data. The character that we created, the patron that we met, was Ascension Caderas. And he informed Talti that one of his peers has an ulterior motive to thin out this star sector's population. Like Thanos, except like 100th or 1,000th of that size. So not the entire universe, just this specific star sector that we are in. Star sector is a fancy term for solar system, by the way. All right, good. So where we left off, he found out about this and about this person that we will later name. And I kind of felt, while I was re-listening to the last episode, although this is a new episode, I still think this is a continuation of that scene. Ergo, Chaos Factor remains the same. And I feel that that is the best way to handle it, because as far as I felt like it left on, it kind of left on a sort of a thrust. What do they call that? There's a word for it. It's like a thrust and stab or something like that. It's a writer's term to basically mean keep the reader wanting to read more. And so with that said, I go, this scene is still technically going after listening to it. It's still technically going. So we're going to pick up where we left off. And I think where we left off is Talti is staggered by the news. One of my peers? What is he trying to do? He's trying to decimate the population? Who could it possibly be? He runs through his head, but Miss Caderas answers it for him. It is Gadelva Imagine. Talti holds his head. Gadel? No. Senator Gadel? He's behind this? What do you mean? How could this be? He was always proponent of peace. Ascension, Miss Caderas looks at Talti. Talti, I know this is a shock to you. I do. But it was only just a cover-up this entire time. But how do I know this is not a lie? How do I know that this is something that you're just making up to manipulate me? Miss Caderas answers. Because of the bounty on your head, Talti. That is why. It all leads back to Senator Vamajan. He wants you gone. Whatever you found in your last diplomatic mission, it's something that's threatening what he wants to do, what he wants to accomplish, which is take out this population. But Talti holds his head, almost a twinge in his head. But what possible purpose does he even have to thin out the population? It is for control, Miss Caderas answers. It is for control. Because when the population is thin, when peoples die around their families, they will rally to the strongest thing. And that is going to be Senator Vamajan. He will rise up. But how do you know all this? Does she reveal... We'll call that 50-50. Does she reveal that information? Or does she keep her cards close to the chest? Does she reveal that information to Talti? 50-50. 99. Am I reading that correctly? Nope. Wait, yep, I did. 99. And 99, my dear capybaras, on a 50-50 chaos factor 4 is definitely a no without looking. But I'm pretty sure it's a no, an exceptional no. I was correct. On the chart, this is an exceptional no. It's a no and. It's a no and because she doesn't fully trust Talti. Miss Caderas looks at Talti. I'm not going to reveal that information to you right now, Talti. But it's the only reason that at this moment I do not trust the government of this star sector to trust them with our well-being. Because, Mr. Talti, I don't know if you know this, but if the population thins out, myself included, that's just bad for business. Oh, she's all about the business up in here. Talti, still holding his head in disbelief, still trying to process this information, says, I understand. In due time, I hope that you do trust me, Miss Caderas. Because, as always, I believe that I can be a strong ally. How much of an ally can you really be with a bounty on your head, Mr. Talti? Ooh, stinging a hurt. He kind of, he cringes hearing that. Just a slight cringe in his expression. Touché, Miss Caderas, touché. There are ways that I can help you. You're right, Mr. Talti. There are other ways that you can help. But there's going to be some changes. I would like for you to partner up with Priya. And I would like you to take down, because it is very possible that this is some of the information that I can reveal to you, Mr. Talti, as I do trust Priya, because Priya, for the right price, can be trusted. With that said, Senator Vamajan is connected to a number of very black market underground type people, creating his own syndicate, if you will. Help me take them down, and we can take down Senator Vamajan. But first, where is the thing that he is looking for? Does Talti know where that device is? Is he still in possession of it after all this time? I'm going to call that, at this point, very unlikely. $27. No. Talti looks at Miss Caderas dead in the eye. Miss Caderas, I do regretfully have to inform you that I no longer know where the device is. Why is that, Mr. Talti? because I purposely had that memory removed. What? It's the last thing that I remember. It was the last thing I remember when I was on that planet. I had that memory removed. It was stored somewhere, and I had made sure that I forgot everyone connected to it. Mr. Talti, that is smart. I will give you that. But that does give us a bit of a problem now, does it? I understand, Miss Caderas. I really and truly understand. But the people I do trust. And ergo, I had to forget everything about the device, for it can bring about the destruction of this sector and peace along the galaxy, if one chose to do so. Even though that it can be used for good, right now there's too much chaos and corruption, as I now can confirm, within our own star sector's government, myself included, because I know for a fact that sometimes I've done some things that I'm not proud of to be where I'm at. But I did it because I know at the end of the day, I had the people, the good of the people, in mind. Mr. Talti, you sound virtuous. I will give you that. However, this does prove to be an issue. We will speak more on this later. For now, I think it is best. And she waves Priya over, grabbing, she signals for him to give him the data pad that he has. She types into it, puts into what looks like a little memory stick in there, and then taps away at the screen, pulls out the stick and hands it back. Priya, you now have the information of the first person that you need to go after. First person that needs to be questioned or taken down so we can start crippling Senator Vomagin's plans. Take Talti with you. That is all. Thank you, Mr. Talti. Glad to have you here. Thank you for having me, Miss Caderas. And with that, they part ways. Priya takes and says, well, looks like we're going to be buddies for a little while longer, Talti. And that ends the scene as Talti kind of grimaces at Priya, knowing that he has to be stuck with them longer. So that is the end of the scene at this point. So we have Ascension. We have Senator Vomagin. I will add him to the character list here, if I can find it. There it is. We'll add him as a character, but for now, I'm going to put an as. I feel can't really add him there because he's not an important character that was in the scene, and that's how the rules work. So I'll have to add him somewhere else for now. There we go. And with that, after everything that's happened, how they moved from one scene to the next, things were very much in Talti's control, albeit the fact that things were forgotten and that things happened, and that will bring our chaos factor down to 3 at this point. And I will say that's where we're going to pick up now. Priya and Talti now have a new quest or a new thread, and that is to take down Senator Vamajan Syndicate. Good. The scene we're going to now test are Priya and Talti together. So with a KS factor of 3, 8. The scene proceeds as expected. No, I'm so sorry. I thought it was an 8. It's a 3 on the dot. Sometimes I cannot read my dice in this lighting, and I really need to get more of a proper lighting in here. Bear with me as I look up what happens next. Okay, with a 3, which is on the dot of the chaos factor, the scene is altered. So while Priya and Talti are convening to go on to their next mission, which is to now go after the first person of Senator Vamajan's syndicate. So we have to tweak the scene a little bit. It's called a scene adjustment. Usually what you do is you roll a d10, and then you go from there. 2, add a character. Oh, I love that. Eee! I love adding characters. The more characters, the merrier, I always say. Let's see. Let us add a character. Alright, so we already rolled that it is a woman, female, young. And let's determine just a few more things, and then we'll go from there. Alright, of average height. So along the way, they run into a young, spry girl. Is spry the correct word we're looking for? I do want to say, yeah, I like that. Let's go with that. It means quick and nimble. So they run into a spry young lady who just jumps right into their way. Hey, Priya, she says energetically. Priya and Talti almost jump back, surprised by her presence. And she asks, where are you guys going? Oh, let's give her a name. Priya says, not now, Vasanta. What is it that you need? She goes, well, hey, no, guess what? I'm here to help you guys out. Get outfitted for your next mission. Miss Caderas told me that you guys needed help. What? We were going to load up ourselves. Vasanta, just go away. And she goes, no, I am now the expert. I'm the equipment person. You need me. So she, without further ado, she just walks and takes them into the equipment room. And she goes, here, this is what you guys need for this mission. So she looks everything over. She's taking the data pad right out of Priya's hand without his permission. She looks over everything and goes, okay, here is what you're going to need. And she just goes into the bag, grabs a assorted amount of items, puts it into a container, and hands it over to Priya. She goes, this is everything you're going to need for this mission. Okay? And then she holds out her hand. Vasana, what are you doing? Vasana, what are you doing? There's an exchange that's supposed to happen here? I need my money. Vasanta, Vasana, you are so annoying. How much? She just grabs his pad again, puts in a number, and then there's a chime that happens in the background. She goes, that much. And he, handing it back, Priya goes, just annoyed. All right, let's just go. Thank you so much, Vasanta. But we're going to go ahead and be off. And with that, Talti and Priya grab their equipment and go over back into the hangar and get into their ship. as they're going into the ship, Priya looks at Talti and goes, okay, so before we leave on this mission, obviously you cannot go by your name. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to change your name. So I have a pretty good idea what your name should be. Talti raises one eyebrow looking at Priya. And what is that going to be, Priya? I was thinking Sven Borker. Sven Borker? Yes, that's right. Sven Borker. From now on, you are now Sven. Welcome aboard, Sven. I'm Priya. Let's go kick some ass. And with that, they fly. They undock from the spaceport and start heading towards the direction that Miss Caderas has given them to start taking down Senator Vimajan's syndicate, starting with the first person they need to go after. That, Capybaras, takes us to the end of this scene. Or actually, it's not even, at this point, I can't even say it's the end of the scene. We're just going to pick up where this scene picks up. As far as I'm concerned, it's not the end of the scene. We're going to call it the end of this part of the scene, and we're going to pick up later on the next episode on this scene again. Then, the other thing I want to explain, that Sven Borker is actually the name of my friend who helped me create the name of the show. I was contemplating what I should call the show. I was going through a couple things like Solo Roller, Solo Sci-Fi Die, something, and he gave me the name The Lone Roller. So Sven, you're welcome. You are now a part of the show. You are as an alias for the main character, Talti. With that, Capybaras, thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on the social network of Twitter as Alternative Zen. And, of course, my Instagram is Alternative Zen with an underscore in between both Alternative and Zen. And you can find my blog, steelfoxes.home.blog. Capybaras, we'll see you next time on another episode of The Lone Roller, where we'll pick up the next part of the scene.